Hey folks, welcome back. It's time for another Throw It On Thursday. It's been several weeks since I've done a Throw It On Thursday. Patty and I have been off in Europe touring Poland, had a great time. I'll include a link to our playlist from our Poland videos if you'd like to take a look. We had a good time, ate some good food, and learned a lot about history. Today, for this Throw It On Thursday, I'm going to be making some andouille sausage. Andouille sausage is a rustic, smoked, spicy sausage that those folks down in Cajun land down south really like to make. I love it. It's spicy, it's hearty, it's a really good sausage. I use it in stir fries and jambalaya, and especially I like to use it in gumbo. Later this fall, I'm going to be making a gigantic batch of gumbo that I'll freeze and have for the next several months. For today's Throw It On Thursday, I'm going to be making andouille sausage with this gigantic pork butt. It's almost 10 pounds. It's got a bone in it, so that'll reduce it a little bit, but still, that's going to make a lot of sausage. That's okay, because I have friends that also seem to like sausage. So Phil, if you're out there and you're watching this, hit me up for some andouille sausage. I got some saved for you. So with that, let's head into the kitchen and make some sausage. This pork butt is a bone-in pork butt. So when I cut this up, I'll have to make sure I get that bone out of there. We don't want any bone in our sausage. I'm going to be cutting this up a little different than I usually do for sausage because andouille sausage is a rustic sausage. I'm going to make sure it has a really nice coarse grind to it, but I'm also going to be cubing up some of this meat, really fine cubes, and adding that to the mixture. So we're going to have some ground meat and actually some chunks of meat in our sausage. I'm going to be cubing this up into about inch square cubes to fit easily into my grinder. As usual, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me cube up meat, so we'll fast forward past a lot of this. This is an amazing knife. My brother Mark gave this to me. It's sharp, it's comfortable, it's an excellent knife. Everybody needs a Mark in their life. That's a lot of good fat on there. That'll make the sausage nice and juicy. Pork butts seem to be the right kind of meat to use for sausages. They have a good fat to lean ratio. There we go. I have most of the meat off this bone. I'm actually going to be using this in a little soup stock. That soup stock I'll be adding to the sausage to give it a little bit of moisture. I have about 7.5 pounds of meat I'm going to grind, and about 1.5 pounds I'm going to cube up really fine. This is sort of an experiment. I've never done this before, but I'm going to try to cut some like 1/4 inch cubes of meat, maybe even smaller than that. Who knows? I might get a cleaver out and just start chopping. And again, the reason I'm doing this is because I like my sausage to have a really nice rustic, rough texture. Hopefully I'll have all my digits when I'm done. There we go. The cubing and chopping are all done. Let's make the seasoning now. Salt, pepper, cayenne, paprika, celery seed, mustard, thyme, oregano, and for a binder, milk powder. And for this batch of andouille, I'm going to kick it up a bunch of notches by adding some of this hot pepper concoction I made. I dehydrated a bunch of chilies that I got from the farmer's market, and this stuff is spicy. I hope that's not too much. I almost forgot one of the most important ingredients, pink curing salt. This andouille sausage is going to be cold smoked, so that curing salt will help keep the meat safe. I'm grinding it nice and coarse. I've had the meat in the freezer for about an hour. It firms up the meat really good and makes it easier to grind. I have some huge cloves of garlic I'm also going to put in here. I'm just going to grind them up. You could use granulated garlic if you'd like, but I got some nice garlic at the farmer's market, so I'll use that. Okay, let's add all the seasoning in there. And give it a good mix. Now I'm going to add in this chopped meat, so that gets a good coating of seasoning also. What I'm doing now is mixing this around so that the protein extraction happens, so the sausage becomes nice and sticky. It binds together well so that we have a really nice texture. Time to add some of the soup stock that we made with that bone from the pork butt. This is going to help with the moisture of the sausage. I made sure that stuff was nice and cool. I actually put a bunch of ice cubes in it. Now, I'll just mix this until it becomes nice and tacky. I've been mixing this now for about 5 or 6 minutes, and it is really tacky. So I think we're ready to stuff this in some sausage casings. Looking good. Time to link these up. Try to make sure that they're as even as possible. I do have a couple marks on here for bun size, but for andouille sausage, yeah, I usually use these in different dishes like gumbo and jambalaya, so the size really doesn't much matter here. But it's nice to keep them somewhat consistent. I have some air bubbles in a few of these, so I'm just going to pop the skin and just to make sure the air comes out of it. Well, here they are, 9 pounds of andouille sausage all linked up. We're going to let this sit in the refrigerator overnight, separated, so that the air can circulate around them. That'll give it time for all those flavors to mingle together and for the curing salt to do its thing. Tomorrow, we're going to do a cold smoke and then finally cook these things. It's now the next morning. Time to give these sausages a cold smoke. A cold smoke is basically just that. It's a smoke that isn't hot. So we're going to use this smoking tube. I'm going to actually put the sausages on my grill with the smoking tube and let it smoke for about an hour or so. The idea is just to get a lot of good smoke flavor on there, but not cook the sausages at this point. For this cold smoke, I'm just going to be using some of my apple pellets. Now let's light this thing up. There we go. I have a nice good smoke going there. Gonna place that in the bottom of the grill and then put the sausages in. This is getting pretty full. I had to make a second layer here. Fortunately, this is just being cold smoked, so we don't have to worry about the heat. Okay, I got them all on this little grill here. It's gonna smoke now for about an hour or so, absorb a little bit of that cold smoke, and then we're gonna put it on our regular smoker to finish cooking it. Okay, full disclosure, this is actually the next day. I ran out of time yesterday to put these on the smoker, so I'm doing it today. As you can tell, the color got a little redder. That curing salt really does a number on these sausages and gives them a beautiful color. I have it all filled up. I have the smoker set to 220 degrees. We're gonna let these get up to about 150. See you then. 2.5 hours, and these are now up to temp, about 150. Going to stop the cooking by putting these in a nice ice bath. There we are, 9 pounds of andouille sausage. Homemade, smoked, and delicious. I'm going to heat a couple of these up for a little taste test. Got that nice looking one, and here's one that fell on the ground and broke into a few pieces. So we're going to munch on that one too. Oh, that looks good. Again, my favorite time to throw it on Thursday, getting to try what I made. Today, it's fresh smoked andouille sausage. Let's give it a try. The first thing I'm getting is the saltiness. The second thing is that hit from the cayenne pepper and those dehydrated peppers. Wow. On top of that is that nice smoke flavor. I think I hit this one out of the park. This is pretty darn good sausage. The amount of smoke on here I think is about perfect for me. A lot of andouille sausages, they go on the smoker for a whole day. Me, I don't like it quite so smoky, so I only had about an hour and a half on cold smoke and then another 2.5 hours on the pellet smoker. It's just about perfect. And the texture is pretty good too. It's pretty coarse, pretty meaty. You know you're eating andouille. As usual, I'll put the recipe that I used to make this andouille sausage in the description. I actually got this from Chud's Barbecue. Bradley from that channel makes some pretty outstanding looking sausages, so I thought I'd give one of his a try, and you know what? Turned out pretty good. Certainly felt good doing another Throw It On Thursday after all those travel videos. Andouille sausage, one of my favorite sausages. And the best thing is I get to use it in other stuff like Gumbo and Jambalaya. As always, I had a really good day. I hope whatever you guys are doing, you're also having a good day. See you next time.